Hi, my name is Rossborough, welcome to the channel. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to take the strings off this bass and we're going to treat the neck as well with a little bit of lemon oil, give it an overall clean. Okay, first of all, I would recommend having your bass sitting on a table and maybe have something underneath to support the neck. You can get neck stands, but you know, a rolled up t-shirt or anything else will actually help support that neck. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to loosen these strings and just get them to a point where they're quite floppy and you can kind of grab them like that. I have an unbelievably large set of nips. So this is the reason why we loosen them first. If I was to do this while this was in tune, you could take your eye out or lose a limb. Now we just uncoil them and remove them. Next up, we're going to just feed them back through the bridge. Before I go any further, what I'm going to do is I am going to oil this bridge, and also what I'm going to do is I am going to add some graphite to this nut. Now putting graphite in the nut, you can just go along with your pencil into each nut slot and deposit some graphite. It doesn't need to be a huge amount in there, just give it a couple of wipes and it should be fine. On these smaller ones, you might find that graphite builds up on each side. You can kind of just push them on into the hole there. You can buy actual nut lubricant, but graphite does a great job. I've been using graphite for years and it's completely fine. Next, we're going to be oiling this neck. People get obsessed with oiling it all the time. You can't oil these too much, so just take it easy. This is the oil that I like to use. It is called Parker and Bailey Lemon Oil Polish. This will last an absolute lifetime. It goes really far. I far much prefer to spend all that money on Dunlop lemon oil. The lemon oil you're using on your neck is not like the lemon oil essential oil. It's basically a mineral oil that's just lemon scented. I'm just using an old t-shirt here. You can use an old rag. Try not to use anything where the material might come off onto the neck. I'm using this white one so you can actually see some of the grime that's coming off. This neck is not too dirty at all. If you find that your neck has a lot of grime on it, you could scrub it with a little toothbrush. You can use 0 grade steel wool, but because of your pickups here, you have to be really, really careful. So you'd have to tape all of your pickups and your electronics off so you make sure that none of those little iron filings go in there. Personally, I wouldn't want to take the risk. You could take your neck off, but then you're going to have to put it back on again. So I just use a old toothbrush and get scrubbing. When you are adding lemon oil to the neck, you can add too much. You don't want your neck to be sodden. Literally just a little pour on your rag and then wipe it on, and then make sure that you wipe it off because that wood is quite porous and it's going to soak up the oil that it needs. So after you're done, just give it a good wipe down. Make sure you get in between those frets too, because that's where a lot of the grime exists, and that neck is looking almost brand new. Just to show you the grime that came off, because everyone likes a bit of dirt, that is what came off that neck. Ugh, disgusting. So first of all, we're going to feed our bass strings through here and we're going to take them up to the headstock. I recommend putting all your strings on first and then you can worry about the top end then. Now we're going to put our strings on our pegs and we need to cut this length of strings so we don't get too many winds here and it messes with the tuning, and we don't get too little either where you might have a chance of it popping out. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure 1, 2 tuning peg lengths, and we're going to go anywhere between that 1 and 2 points. So I'm going to cut mine here, then I'm going to poke the string into the middle of the tuning peg and I'm going to grab it and wrap it round. All your strings should be wrapping around this way, and then hold that string because you want it to wind from the bottom up. And during this stage you just want to get those strings on where there's a little bit of tension on. Don't worry about tuning just yet. Next one, I'm going to cut it about here. One thing you do want to make sure is you mind the right length of bass string. You have anywhere between a short scale, a long scale, and an extra long scale bass as well. So make sure you're buying the right one. Just hook that underneath your string tree. So now the strings are on, next thing we're going to do is we're going to set our string height and our saddles. We're going to check the truss rod and we're going to set the intonation. So checking your truss rod, put your finger on your first and put your finger on like your 15th fret, and you're going to look at the space in your 9th fret, and it should be the space of a credit card. If it's not, you're going to have to adjust your truss rod. So if you're looking to adjust your truss rod, it's quite easy. These imports usually take about a 4mm Allen key. Some of the official Fender ones and all, that'll be an Imperial. And basically what we're going to do is you can turn it towards the thicker string to the bass, and that will tighten the truss rod, and over this way we'll add relief towards the thinner strings. I recommend looking down this way and it'll be righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. It's time to adjust our string height. I recommend doing this while the bass is on your lap because obviously gravity is having an effect on these strings. But take your little Allen key, put it in those little grub screws, and if you screw it in, that will raise the string height. If you screw it out, that will lower the string height. There is a measurement that comes from Fender for the bass guitars, and that's about a 2.4mm measurement at the 12th fret. I will show you how to do that now. Okay, so you can use a carpenter's ruler here, making sure it starts at 0. But what I'm going to use is this little string gauge, and I am going to come to the millimeters because that's what I work in, and I'm going to line it up at the 12th fret, and I am going to raise my bridge here until this meets about 2.4mm. At the minute it's only at 1mm, so I've got quite a way to go. If you're finding that you can't get this big enough, basically what it means is your neck is going to need a shim in it down at the bottom of the neck pocket, and that'll lift your neck up, and that will help it get to where it needs to go. This is almost doubled in height, and that's because it's a brand new bridge, so I'm going to set the height for all the strings so they follow the curvature of the neck. You might notice that it might just be like a little bit too high or maybe a little bit too low, so what you can do is just give it a little tweak until it feels quite comfortable. So mine is just a little bit too high. Once you have your intonation set to kind of what you think it should be, give it another tune and then play through. And basically what you want to do is you want to play every fret, and you're going to be listening for a little thing we call fret buzz. So you're going to play the string and it might go at the end. Obviously your string is going to be hitting a fret because your action might be too low. So give your frets a good going over. Just do some chromatic scales throughout your neck. Once that's done, we move on now to intonation. We're going to intonate the bass, so you're going to need a screwdriver and you're going to need a tuner of some kind, preferably a stomp box one. Get your bass in tune first, and next what you're going to do is you're going to play your 12th fret and look at your tuner. If it is flat, you're going to have to move this saddle forward. If it's sharp, you're going to have to move it back the way. So basically what this does is this changes the kind of the tuning of the 12th fret. Really what it does is it sets a midpoint for your string, and you can do that with a star head screwdriver. So mine is way too sharp, and get pulling that saddle back. Once you adjust the saddle position, you're going to have to tune it open again and then check your 12th again. So as you can see there, mine's is still way too sharp, so I'm going to give this a good few turns. If you're finding that it's hard to get this to move because of your string tension, you can tune it up, check the intonation, loosen the string, pull the saddle back, tune it up, and then check the intonation. So my name's been Rossborough. Thanks very much for watching, and please like and subscribe. But until the next video, ta-ta.